Guys, I just want to say, first and foremost, such a pleasure to be speaking with you both. I really loved the film. It's so refreshing to see in the age of Pixar and Sony Pictures Animation and all the other 3D animation out there that people are kind of slowly reverting back to the 2D. There's some sort of appreciation for that art form still. We saw last year with Wolf Walkers, and this one I really hope gains momentum because it's so uniquely crafted. So I have to ask, first question, what made you guys go with that medium?
Puppet animation is where my heart has been since college. There's something about
2D animation, she means,
well, also, but the puppet in
people
particular, the articulated, the stiff kind of single drawings that are moving like articulated puppets. I loved Lottie Reininger. Seeing Prince Ahmed was kind of this transformational moment in my arts career. I love Renee Laloux's Fantastic Planet. That showed that to me early in our acquaintance.
It was always like, I loved limited animation and kind of saw it as having its own specific, unique beauty that was different than full animation, and approaching it as a unique mode that would be worth exploring and contributing to was always the goal. It wasn't like, can I make a giant CG movie? Oh, I'm going to pivot to it was all, it was not a concession. It was a goal from the beginning.
I'm particularly interested in this kind of animation because there is a tension between my natural inclinations, which is to do kind of realistic animation, and then the engineering constraints of the puppet itself. And I think that there's this space to really play with the artifice that animation is, to not try and hide that you've got, the illusion of life and the artifice both very much in the forefront.
Now, as cool as it is as an animated film, was there any point early on in pre-production when you guys were planning everything out that you guys thought to yourselves, maybe this might be better as a live action film? I mean, I only ask because there are some elements of this that I would love to see adapted in live action.
No.
No, first of all, I never had live action film aspirations, and I don't even think like socially I would be able to kind of do one of those things, and then
in early versions of the script there were some little live action chunks, and I was like, take them out, take them out, take them out. You don't need it. This is the thing we do, what we are excited about.
I think people will be psyched to see it.
I mean, I think that there are always going to be some people who are like, oh, animation is for kids. That's not our battle. Like, if you refuse, that's not our battle. If you refuse to believe that animation can be for adults, we probably aren't your audience. But I think that there are a lot of people out there who would be excited to see this in the form that we've chosen to do it.
Once again, I really want to say I really appreciated just how creative this film was. And that leads me to my next question, which is, where did this idea come from? It is probably the most original film I've seen all year.
Oh, cool. About it being connected to drawing, I think one of the first ideas was that drawing is our only way of depicting imaginary beings. They can't be photographed. So like early representations of fawns and unicorns and early art, like drawing is a direct circuit to imagination and the imaginary world. So that was the idea of doing an animated was at the very beginning.
And then because Dash is an amazing creative partner, he knew that I would be working on the film with him and wanted to design something that I would have buy-in immediately. And I happened to be running an all-girls D&D group, and I was like doing all the minis and the bits and all the fun fetishy bits. And so he knew he wanted to bring creatures into the mix, and that also inspired kind of the predominantly female globe-trotting adventure story that we go on.
And where did how did you guys decide which creatures to include and which not to include? I mean, there are a lot of different characters from folklore and I guess urban legends that just cameo in this. So I can imagine you guys had a lot of fun just fitting them into like small frames here and there, a bunch of Easter eggs. But ultimately, how did you decide what belonged in the story?
Well, the Baku was the main one, and when I came across the Baku, that's when it felt like a movie idea, because movies can be dreamlike when they're working well.
As opposed to comics, Dash is also a cartoonist, and so the Baku is a film idea rather than a comics idea.
You know, in the universe of the movie, the Baku, the dream-eating Baku, is like the most important creature of this movie. So the Baku had to be in it. You know, we tried to pick ones that we hadn't seen in a movie before that would be exciting to see. The Tarask is a classic of D&D that we're glad was in there.
Yeah.
Do you have one you want to add?
Oh, just making sure that we had representation from all over the place. We got near the end of the film and realized we didn't have anything from North America, so we pulled in the Jersey Devil, which replaced a harpy because we were feeling a little heavy on the Greek mythology. I'm bummed. There's one creature we tried to get in and we just sort of ran out of time. There's this really nutty, I think it's Irish, but it's a horse leg that sticks out of a tree and kicks you when you walk by. Which is just, the world is so full of inventive, weird, magical stuff.
Yeah, I really, and that leads me to, I think it's probably gonna be my final question for sake of timing. But so with this film, it feels like you guys are almost just getting started. Like it feels like there's so much more to this universe that's just waiting to be explored. So are there plans for a sequel or maybe like an animated series expansion, or I don't know, what's next?
For this universe, strangely, I had an idea of putting them in a different time period of 80s cryptids and a Cryptozoo attempt in the 80s. But you know, we want to keep making movies and doing different stories. I don't know if we're going to check back in. I feel like this at least wraps up this 1960s attempt of a Cryptozoo in one story. But I let me say, I did want it to feel almost like an adaptation of, you know, a 1,000-page 1970 paperback where each of these characters have whole stories that we're only getting glimpses of in our hour-and-a-half movie. So I wanted it to feel very full.
There has been some talk of maybe a video game or something like that. No concrete plans on that, but we are going to make another movie.
Yeah.
I sure hope. If you want to see it, the best way to help us out
is to go see this one.
Let people know that we should make more things.
Yeah, for sure. One last question, if there's time. What are you hoping that people take away from this film? What's the message?
Don't mess with the unicorn?
Yeah, leave the unicorn alone.
Fantastic. Thank you guys so much, and I wish you the best of luck with this film. Can't wait to see what you guys do next.
Thank you.
Cool. Thank you.